My name is Dr. Tunde Elegbede, and today we'll be looking at labor market analysis. And this is an introductory aspect of the course labor market analysis. We are going to start by looking at labor as a factor of production. Labor, like any other factor of production, is similar to all other factors of production because in terms of essential characteristics ascribed to factors of production, labor shares some of these factors. For instance, labor, but the reward for land is rent, the reward for capital is interest, and the reward for labor is wage. And like any factors of production that contribute to the production process, labor is unique and labor is unique and very essential in production process. But however, it is important to know that labor differ from all other factors of production, and labor is the only factor of production that appreciates in value because of two essential characteristics of labor. The first one is labor has the training ability to be trained, because labor has that human sense to think and react. Then two, the mobility of labor. A lot of people will argue that land also appreciates, but the rate at which labor appreciates is higher and faster than that of land, because uh, labor is not fixed in supply, labor is not immobile, labor is what? Mobile. So if your value is not appreciated in a particular environment, you can actually migrate to another state, another local government, another country where your value, where your skills, where your knowledge will be appreciated. That is not possible for lands. You cannot compare the value of lands in Mushin with value of lands in Ikoyi or Balada Island. And you cannot say because you want the value of your land in Mushin to be at par with that of Banana Island, that you are going to move your land to Banana Island. It's not possible. So labor appreciates faster and has the ability to appreciate itself by acquiring more training and the ability to move from one environment to another environment. Now that is the meaning of labor. Then what is market? What is labor market? Before we can define labor market, let us define market. Market is a meeting point for buyer and seller of products. That definition addresses product market. But labor market differ from product market and services market because labor market is an abstract market. And that abstraction of labor market stems from the fact that there is no meeting point for labor, for seller of labor and buyer of labor to meet. So it is an abstract market. It only exists in the mind of buyer and seller of labor effort. What is important in labor market is the awareness of the buyers by the seller and the awareness of the seller by the buyers. And one factor remains very important that ensure or facilitate labor market, because there is no physical meeting point, and that concept is known as perfect information. So when you want to define labor market, there is need to make recourse to perfect information, because they create awareness of both buyer and sellers of labor market. Therefore, labor market can be defined as the interplay of demand and supply in the pricing and allocation of labor effort and all other institutions that facilitate the intercourse of demand and supply for labor. That is the definition of labor market. It is an abstract market. What brings the market together? There must be those that want to buy labor, and there must be those that want to sell labor. So, and those two can only come together, can only meet as a result of the presence of perfect information. And the perfect information are the other institutions that facilitate the intercourse of demand and supply. They are the ones that will bring demand and supply together. And what are these perfect information that creates awareness of job openings so that buyers and sellers can be aware of each other, buyers and sellers can meet abstractly. These are job centers, employment agency, newspaper, internet, government job registry, trade unions, professional association are some of the institutions that facilitate the intercourse of demand and supply of labor. These institutions, as I said earlier, they are generally known as perfect information because they enable the meeting place for employers and potential job seekers. This will be analyzed furthermore in our subsequent classes. What are the functions of labor market? With labor market performs various functions. It render functions to individual and household employers and the state. Here we are saying that with recourse to the labor market, individual households are able to resolve certain pursuits. For instance, in what proportion should leisure and work hours be combined? How to combine leisure hour and work hour, as we are going to analyze under labor supply. What determines the total number of hours to be supplied? What are the factors that will make a worker to supply more hours of work? It is that answer can only be that problem can only be resolved with recourse to labor market, because if the cost of living index is extremely high, then therefore workers need to augment pay. So those are some of the things that determine the total number of hours to be supplied by an individual, and what will necessitate the number of households to be engaged in market and non-market activities. With recourse to labor market, that will also be answered when we started talking about employment and unemployment. Now, to the employer, with recourse to the labor market, employer is able to explain the problems, what occurrence in the product market that will cause adjustment in the labor market. What are those things that threaten the organization? What are those things that threaten the business of the employer that will make them to go for retrenchment strategy? In what proportion should labor and capital be combined? And that will be explained when we started looking at demand for labor. That is, at what rate should we combine labor? At what rate should we reduce labor in order to increase capital? At what rate should we reduce capital in order to reduce labor? And what are the issues that will cause it? For instance, in the public establishment, government, ministry, and other departments, government prefer to reduce the use of capital and increase the use of labor, because government is more interested in reducing the rate of unemployment, because they believe that relying more on capital intensive work structure will reduce the number of people to be employed. And in this part of the world, government are the largest employer of labor. That implies that a lot of people will be left unemployed, and that will increase the number of unemployment in the economy. In what proportion, and how to regulate internal and external labor demand? These are some of the questions that recourse to labor market will enable employer to resolve. And to the state, it enables the state to regulate the arrangement between supplier and demander of labor, and that is the role of Ministry of Labor, and enable the state to explain what will be the reactions of imposition of minimum wage, especially above the equivalent wage condition, and how to regulate surplus of labor. That is how to reduce the rates of unemployment in the country. And lastly, to the state, labor market analysis enable the state to formulate policy, make prediction, and do a lot of forecasting. So what are the approaches to the study of labor market? We have two major approaches to the study of labor market. The first one is sociological approach. This entails application of sociological theories and concepts to the study of labor market, such as migration, unemployment and population, wage policy, dual labor market hypothesis, human capital management, informal sector and formal sector analysis. Then we also have the economy approach. This has to do with application of economic theory and concept such as inflation, unemployment, quantitative analysis, demand and supply of labor. So in labor market analysis, we employ two basic approaches, sociological approach and economic